Is it on there?
We can start though. You can.
I'd like to call the June 23rd Niskuna Complete Streets meeting to order. And I guess we can start with a roll call, right? We can go around the room.
Yep. I have Carla Dugal here. Yep.
Kathy Cusman,
Madeline Hannah.
Brian Doherty.
Laura Robertson.
and Bill Chapman.
Bill Chapman by remote.
Jim Levy.
Okay.
And then Caitlin's joining us and she'll speak under privilege of the floor.
So we can start with Caitlin now.
Okay, Caitlin, go ahead.
Hello. Well, my name's Caitlin Valerio. I live in Niskuna right off of Kelts Farm Road, the new subdivision off of River Road in Blatnick Park. I just wanted to bring to the attention, just seeing if we can talk through some opportunities to reduce the speed limit on Blatnick Road. So my dad is the developer at Kelts Farm, Joel DeZoyne, and we put in a flashing walk sign, a crosswalk. And we're noticing a lot of people, like I have 2 young children. We have quite a few young people who are in the Kelts Farm development now, a lot of people on the multi-path use. And I've experienced being in the middle of the crosswalk and people aren't stopping. We have the lights flashing. We've also noticed just over the years of us building the subdivision, at least 5 accidents right there in the crosswalk of people not stopping. So we're just trying to look, and especially now as the summer, people are using the splash pad, just ways of making it a little more safer.
Caitlin, are you referring to motorists on River Road who do not stop at the crosswalk?
Yes.
I was wondering, do we know, Laura, can the county put crosswalk notice signs further out on both the east and west side of that crosswalk to let motorists know that they are coming up on a pedestrian crosswalk?
That's actually one of Caitlin's questions, and the possibility, something that we could ask them for. Mhm. Like more warning, more signage.
I think we should do that. We should contact the county and ask them if they will do that. And also even the one at River and St. Joseph, if, you know, if we need them there.
See if we have any counting those close encounters, maybe, you know, so if there's anything, any data on that that would support putting more signage there.
Mhm.
That would be
Yeah.
helpful.
Sorry, yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. If we can get the crash reports, if the police have them, if these have been, submitted as actual, crashes, or if these have been happening, but they haven't been called in, I'd be curious to know, but certainly any data we have would help back up our request to the county.
So I know it's a county road, but Laura, do you remember? So one of our neighbors also, I think, had emailed the county, and they claimed that it's the town's responsibility for the speed limit. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I was like copied on that email. Hi, Ted. Ted Healy joining us. I don't really know the answer to that. I don't know why they would say that, but yeah, the county did say that it was the town could set the speed limit there. So we could also potentially ask for maybe them to put the sign out so we could get a sense of how fast people were going.
That would be good.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's a school in the vicinity of the park, in Clifton Park, where they have that really nice crosswalk, and they have a very small section of like almost like a school zone. So for that crosswalk, I don't know if you could ever make like a park or community.
Yeah, I mean, like in the springtime, there's just so many people with baseball at the Blatnick Park, and then with the splash pad now in the summer, there's just a lot of kids. So it just feels, you have one rogue toddler running away from the splash pad and that speed limit is 40, 45. So just looking for ideas of just making it more safe as there's more children in the area.
Laura, I don't know about who has the right to do it, but I heard a rumor that it was determined that the town actually has the ability to change speed limits without having to go to the state legislature. Is that right?
Yeah.
Then Niskayuna is considered a suburban town?
Yeah, which I think maybe the clerk, or if you go somewhere, you can find us on a list of suburban town. I'm not an expert on it, but it does look like we did get designated a suburban town like quite a long time ago. So we just didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't think most communities know that. Yeah, so that does, where the town has control over speed limits, I think give you more authority, but we still have to have, justification, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Without that, the only ability to change the speed limit is to go to the state legislature, as we know, which is
Right. Which is what we thought we had to do. Yeah.
right.
But
That's a big lift.
but suburban towns are like different. They have different rules.
Right.
I mean, that might be possible down the road. I think, the town is going to monitor the progress that both Albany and Schenectady will be having with 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And, if they go for a year and they see there is a reduction in accidents. And of course, theirs is three-pronged. It's going from 30 to 25. Then they're also doing the school zones where they have cameras, at least in Albany, cameras that monitor the school zone. And, the computer keeps track and sends you a ticket. And then Albany is also using speed humps. So they're doing three things, and they have had success in reducing speeds and even success in reducing accidents. And so if we do, if you can reduce accidents by a third, that would be something. I mean, personal injury accidents, that certainly would be something I think other towns would take a look at. But we really need to go a year, 18 months, looking at the data to see what the results are. But, it might be something that, we could look at in a year and a half or so to see about reducing speed limits.
But that's what, Caitlin, that's what you're looking at, right? That's what you would prefer to have, reduce speeds at that area?
I would think so. I mean, like you said, it's right where the park is and the splash pad. So I think reducing speeds would definitely be something we would want. I didn't know, like, at minimum, if there's things that we can do before then of,
Right.
Putting up additional signs. Laura and I had talked about this the other day, that I think, what is it, Laura, on Knott Street, where they have those like crosswalk signs in the street?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if it's out there today. I can't tell. Yeah.
Another question would be, which maybe someone brought up, maybe you mentioned, Laura, is if you're close to a town park, I mean, is that grounds like a school? You could reduce the speed limit to 20, but I don't know if a town park would qualify. Certainly Blatnick Park is there. And, if there are kids that could wander over by the road, that, could arguably be grounds if it's legally allowed, for a park, if that's grounds to reduce the speed limit. And I don't know the answer to that, but we could at least look into it.
Seems like you honestly have more kids out there than in the school because they're, I mean,
For the most part, I think they're supervised.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so I will ask the police if we could get the speed sign out there. I think it's really helpful. And then see if we have crash data. And then we'll also talk about maybe adding some additional signage with the county.
What about just like a low fence for part of it? Did anybody mention that?
Oh, for the park?
Like in the splash pad vicinity,
Yeah.
just like not that it would be completely fenced in, but just like a deterrent for the, like, the most direct path.
To the road.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a split rail or something.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that is something, the cheapest thing, but something that, you know, somebody wouldn't just run right through it. Where, you know, if they had to run around it, then the mom would see, okay, and can get them.
I think that's all the woman that.
I'm very busy.
Yeah, I'm sure it is right now. Maybe I'll go after this. Come on, Maddie.
Yeah, they.
Yeah, it's packed today, especially with how hot it is out. I was driving by and there's a ton of kids at the splash pad right now.
Yeah, they got a half day. What else you can do? Okay.
I think that's it.
Yeah, could I ask one more footnote? On the path that goes to River Road Park, would we as the town consider maybe a sign that's some reminders of which could actually be on both sides, as to, you know, before you cross, be sure to push the crosswalk button, which the chief Kuchin is always very firm about, and also, you know, to be certain cars both east and west have come to a stop before you walk across the crosswalk. Or, I mean, those would just be some kind of general guidelines, but it's good for people to see them as they come up to the crosswalk, is to say, you know, be sure to push the button before you go across and wait for motorists to stop. And, you know, so that the pedestrian users get some recommendations on how to correctly use the crosswalk before they go across, so that, you know, we want the motorists to do the right thing, but we also want the pedestrians to do the right thing too.
It's interesting you mentioned that.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's interesting you mentioned that, Bill, because in a different client, with the client that I have, I just found out that the state is actually going to be doing a push the button safety campaign through the media for that exact reason. The vast majority of pedestrians who cross the road are not pushing the button in a lot of cases. So there's actually going to be a PSA going out to tell people to push that button. They're crossing without it, which is kind of crazy.
Again, if the state's got some signage that they recommend be in front of the crosswalks, I mean, we could certainly find out about that and use that if they have it, or design one of our own. So
I'd be curious to see what the crashes are that are happening there too, if they're recorded. If they're rear end crashes and someone's crashing into a car that's actually stopped, and technically that's a good thing if people are stopping, but it means people behind them are paying attention. So it's a different kind of, you know, depending on what we're seeing in terms of crashes, if they're being reported, there are different ways of addressing that and handling it, certainly. But I'll be curious to see what they are.
Yeah.
Driver inattentiveness is a common factor.
Yeah, just the other day, I think it was 2 weeks ago, someone crashed right into a car. So I think it was the front car had stopped at the crosswalk and the person behind them wasn't paying attention and blew out like the back window and hit the car pretty hard.
Yeah, so in cases like that, signs like, you know, be prepared to stop might be more beneficial than additional pedestrian crossing signs. So again, it all depends on what we're seeing for, you know, for crashes.
Yeah, so we got work to do on that one.
So, to the minutes. I think we have the minutes for April 28th and February 24th. Does anyone have any comments, corrections, or conditions?
Yes, I'll just give them to Laura. They're all minor stuff.
Oh no, that's good, because they're AI minutes, so yeah.
Yeah, because I noticed some of the wording is like.
Yeah.
That's really, yeah, that's.
I figured that, like the February 24th, I think it's line 143, it says Chairman Chapman suggests the town should have an office in
Yes,
that vicinity, writing tickets. People who speak.
Oh, maybe we should look at that.
Yes.
Okay, that was the April? Oh, March.
Yeah.
February.
And
Oh,
then-
you've got that there.
Yeah, and then of course Laura said the quick update is the drawings are not ready.
Yeah.
So just, yeah. Yeah.
You're also called Mr.
Wade does do that.
I think those were the two that were.
You saw the 143.
Right.
Did they already, install a push button crosswalk on Regent?
Yes.
Oh, they did. Wow. Okay.
Bill and I went back and forth on this, but yes, it is there.
Okay.
No, it's so many people cross there.
Yeah, no,
including myself.
It just went up one day. It was just funny. Like, we didn't hear about it. I mean, Bill was asking them for it, and then all of a sudden it was there. Yeah. Okay. Did anybody have anything else?
I think that was, it's a couple little minor things, but I wouldn't be surprised if.
Yeah, I mean, Brian's got like Linda's last name, Birchwood Lane, that road. Got to look at lines 83 through 85. Birchwood Lane, line 143. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Brian.
Right. And line 37 to, April 28th.
He's got that.
Oh, the posted instead of pasted.
Mhm.
Like that. You got that.
Actually, I
Brian's on top of it.
didn't follow like line 42.
In April?
Uh, April, yeah.
Okay.
It went right to Miss Kuzman suggested the current leaf year conditions without a more representative theme rather than presented photographs.
Yeah, because the photographs are from the winter.
Yeah, I think that's
Oh,
what I was
okay.
talking about, where all the photos were black and white.
Okay, it just
And
skipped
gray.
from the
Yeah,
5-year period versus 3-year for crash data set, or 7, so I didn't know. Okay.
yeah. So basically, what does it do? It just takes the conversation and it condenses it.
So I take the transcript
Mhm.
and then it condenses it into the minute. Yeah. Which isn't perfect, but it's a lot
Oh, it's
faster.
very
And you get like a lot
Sorry.
more minutes done. But
Was,
it's getting, I think it's getting slightly better at it too. I started with the tree council, and then I've been doing them now for Beach Street. So.
So I think we have to accept the minutes
As amended.
as amended.
Oh, do you have another one?
oh, well, like the senior center, was your presentation to the senior center for Ecos, Bill?
The environmental.
Wasn't that all online or?
It is available online. I did, thought I sent a note to folks to see it online, but it's part of, I wish I could recite it to you right now. I will look. There is a website that Ecos has that
Yeah.
you can look it up. I think Laura may have it, or
I just do the person that said she was-
I'll look for a second and I will report it to you, but it is, oh yeah, it's ecosny.org. And then it's the Zoom speaker series. So, if you go to the Environmental Clearinghouse of Schenectady website, ECOS, and then go to Zoom meetings or Zoom recordings, then you can find the April 17 presentation on Niskuna Complete Streets out there. So, and Brian learned that I actually had a career in this life besides reading newspapers and tromping around Niskuna, and
True.
that was nice. But it is out there, and I'll make sure that it's available to the minutes, but I think you can get there.
Okay.
And thank you, Laura. As a matter of fact, both Carla and Brian sat through the presentation, and I kept it to an hour. They were shocked by that. So were the people at ECOS, but it seemed to go okay.
was confused about it. You wanted this. But do they own 30? No, yeah, so it's not really their responsibility, right? They took it to the house or?
They're taking it to the house. Like, we've actually asked them to take it all the way to Albany Street a couple times. And the planning board hasn't grabbed onto that one. It is actually even partially in the town colony, Yeah, so.
Okay.
I think that planning boards can require sidewalks in a right of way to go beyond the project limit.
Okay.
They did do that in Rivers Ledge, but in this one, they don't seem to willing to push that hard on that one.
Good to know.
But it obviously would be the best if it could go all the way to Albany Street.
Mhm.
You probably get a fair number of walkers actually that they're not gonna start on South Hagen, but coming from other places. Yeah. But the closer you get to State Street, the better it is to have a sign.
Yes, yeah, for the turnouts.
Yes, for
for
the
sure.
turnout. So,
And then just also the line 131 transit improvement request. It mentions that in parentheses, likely from Rosendale and Providence. So I didn't totally understand what that meant. You're talking about the bus stops at DE and Capital. And they would extend from the bus lines, the ones that do come from Rosendale?
yeah.
Okay.
River, no, it's Providence and River. Yeah, it's Providence and River.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They just said Rosendale.
Yeah, so it shouldn't say, which line is that?
Line 132.
Yeah, so that should change from Rosendale to River. No, there aren't any buses that go down Rosendale. Hmm.
Okay, we have any others?
No,
That's
that's
it.
it.
Right, then we'll just go ahead with, the acceptance of the April 28th and February 24th minutes. So all of those in favor? I think we're all in favor.
Mhm.
Good. Old business, safety on Route 7 linkage study.
Yeah,
Anything?
so Bill and I just wanted to thank you guys because we had 87 responses before you guys started your walking campaign. And I think we got up to 357.
That's great. Yeah, that's
What's the work that went on?
Yeah. It was really impressive to the Transportation Council, and they were just impressed. And I actually ran into a number of people who said that they received the cards. So that was like really impactful. And I felt much better about having that amount of responses versus the 87.
Yeah, that's a much
Yeah.
better sample.
So that was you guys. You guys did that. I don't think our email blasts reach nearly as many people. And the nice thing is now that they have filled it out, like when we get ideas and stuff, we can reach those 357 people much easier.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we wanted to thank you. So, and then just the status of that is that survey closed on Sunday and, good numbers, thanks to you guys. And, they are, analyzing it now and they'll send out a analysis of the findings for the study advisory committee, probably by email within the next 2 weeks or so. And then, from those comments and findings, they'll start working on their draft concepts. So it's moving along. Yeah. And then as a reminder, when we get those draft concepts, then we'll start working on in-person meetings. Yeah.
Laura, can I ask, will there be a meeting in front of the public to discuss the results of the survey or before the Route 7 committee decides to present options to the town before any possible construction or design work would happen?
They find from the survey into how they do the designs. So they're gonna say, we heard that people wanted this, here's a concept of this. So it's getting rolled together and then they would do in-person public outreach.
Can I ask, what's the balance between state DOT, I mean, the traffic engineers looking at what they've used before or what they would recommend in terms of safety features and input from the public on what they see that's hazards on the road and suggestions they have to improve things.
They are working on scheduling a meeting with DOT the next couple weeks too, specifically for the concepts that they're proposing out of the public comment. So they're using both. I don't know what the balance is, but they're both being used.
Right, and I saw more traffic counting hoses out
Yes,
since our last meeting, because then they were picked up.
yes.
But now it's, well, they're gone now again, but some of the roads that intersect at 7, I saw counting hoses on there too.
There was something wrong with a couple of the first counts,
Okay,
so they redid them.
that was DOT? or
That's
that was-
DOT.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, some of the side streets, there was something wrong with the count on them, so they redid them.
Good.
Yeah.
So we want to move on to sidewalk projects.
So I don't really have updates since last month. Palmer Ave we closed out. And Birchwood, I've been pushing them to add speed bumps just so we can see what it looks like. The police department wanted to explore the flashing crosswalk, but you can't have a flashing crosswalk with a stop sign. So they did look at what would be a better control there, but they definitely think the stop sign is the better control there, safer. So been working back and forth on it, but still don't have the plans to share with the public yet.
Are they looking at a raised crosswalk there?
So they did look at a raised crosswalk there, but there is some reason that they think it's better to do speed tables coming in before and after. When they come with that final design, I might be able to get, it's not final, with the draft design, I might be able to get the engineer to come and
Okay, good.
share it with you guys, but yeah, they looked at the flashing crosswalks, the raised intersection, but there's something funny with the school bus turns with the raised intersection or something. And then the speed humps on, they think the speed humps on both sides are the best. And then,
Do you have any idea when that draft is gonna be?
I mean, it
Design.
shouldn't be too far from now because he showed me some parts of it. It's just that we're really focusing in on that intersection so that when we have something to take to the public, it addresses the fact that we heard at our meeting a lot of concern about that intersection. So, right, yeah. The sidewalk itself, I think, is pretty designed. It's the intersection that we're still working on. And then they did switch over to Cornelius. They worked a little harder on Cornelius for a little while because the town heard that there's gonna be utility work on Cornelius, and if they're doing the work already, then they for a little while had switched over to Cornelius. So I actually think we'll get both of them at about the same time.
That's exciting.
Yeah, well, the design.
Right, right.
They're not funded, but
Money's.
it'll be up to us to convince everyone on the road that they're a good thing.
Right.
It'll be hard, but we can do it.
To business.
Oops, that's one thing. So, couple planning projects for comments. Sorry, I forgot my laptop today, so I have to be awkward. Okay, this is the one that you were asking the clarifying question on, Carla. The sidewalk that they would build literally stops at their property line. But they did, I think it was our recommendation, but it might have been the tree council's too. They did move the trees down between the sidewalk and the road. And they added another row of trees up here to buffer the parking lot. So this is the newest concept. These funny changing lines are the turn radius of an 18-wheeler. So it's just showing, this is the 18-wheeler. It's showing that it can come off State Street, drive through the site, drop the cars off, and then come back out. That's why those lines are there. We could continue to recommend the sidewalk go all the way. It's up to you guys.
Cause don't they own the one house above that, I thought they owned that
So
house.
they do have the sidewalk going all the way to the end of what they own.
Oh, okay.
They do own this house and they do have the sidewalk going all the
Okay,
way
that's
to
good.
it. They don't own the next one.
Right.
So if the planning board hasn't accepted it before, I
Yeah.
mean, would they change their mind now? I mean, is it
Um,
worth just,
I mean, I feel like the planning board was more distracted because I was at that, one of the initial meetings by just not having the trucks on the street
yes,
anymore.
they
And
were.
so maybe now that that's all resolved, now they'll be like open to hearing about the sidewalk.
Yeah, maybe at least to the town line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's probably worth presenting
Yeah.
it?
I mean, it doesn't, I mean,
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
Maybe council
The worst they could
continues
do is say no.
to make a recommendation. Yes. Okay, so we'll still recommend the sidewalk goes farther.
Laura, could I ask, would it be helpful if someone on our complete streets actually kind of walked the State Street section of town, say from, I don't know, Balltown Road, going further east to find out, are there other streets where there's a sidewalk between Albany Street and State Street? And I mean, there may be pedestrians that walk along Albany or State that want to get from State over to Albany or the other way that, you know, maybe it would help our case to say, well, here's at least one street where there's a sidewalk that goes between State Street and Albany Street that pedestrians could use. And I mean, obviously, if they're further away, they're not going to backtrack to use a sidewalk. But, you know, if there are folks that, you know, would be walking on Albany Street that want to get up to State Street, they might appreciate having a sidewalk. So, I mean, I guess I was just wondering if that would be another arrow in our quiver to try to, you know, ask the planning board or the town board to do a sidewalk all the way from State to Albany Street.
To. It's,
I just took a quick look on an aerial bill. I don't see any sidewalks on any of the side streets around there.
Okay.
They're along State Street. There might be one segment on the other side of the Kia dealer, but otherwise I don't see anything in terms of sidewalks.
The sidewalk would now come down all the way to here, so about way down South Vegan. The town line's about here, and then it turns into the town of Colony. But yeah, there is kind of a worn path here, yeah. That's the other side. South Vegan is a huge right of way too. It's something like 80 feet. And it's a tiny shoulder there. Although I think they may have repaved it. Well, I guess it's more like maybe not. I think maybe if you walk it, you can see that it a little better. But yeah, they would put a sidewalk like literally from there all the way through here with trees. Cause like right now it'd be really hot to walk on that. So I mean, I'll take a little
Would
while.
would we have to ask the town if the town would consider paying the bill to run the sidewalk down to Albany Street?
Well,
Or-
the town definitely can't do it in the town of Guilderland.
Oh, I see.
The developer sometimes can. Or
Would
it's
it be worth you
No.
having a conversation with the planner and is it Colony to see, you know, could something be worked out or are we just in a spot where it'd be expensive and they don't want to do it and maybe it would be unfair to ask the developer to go all the way to Albany Street? Or is there an interest in pedestrian safety that something might be worked out?
Something wants to get built by the elementary schools first.
Yeah.
Like that's what, I don't think there's like 7-year-olds walking here, you know,
No, it's mostly people walking to the bus stop.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas there are plenty on Cornelia Street and around Birchwood. I don't know about Birchwood, but I can vouch for Cornelius.
I guess there's a lot on Birchwood.
Okay. So that's the only reason I wouldn't raise it, Bill, is I don't want them to get overwhelmed with, I don't know, Laura knows, but
Well, yeah, I have the same thought. I think that if you can get the developer to do it as part of this project, then absolutely do it. But as far as redirecting the town's attention here, I wouldn't really recommend doing that.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd agree. I think if there's town money, there are other priorities we'd want to look at.
The thing on planning projects is to leverage the developer's dollar as much as possible. Um.
do you have enough money to expand, Kia? If we're gonna walk to your dealership and drive away with a new car.
So the next one is 1748 Union Street. You guys haven't seen this before. This is the corner of Union Street and Palmer. There's a bank there. I think it's a Broadview Federal Credit Union. There was a nice, kind of like brick building over here that got demolished. So if you come down Palmer, or been for maybe one of them, you would almost be looking exactly at that building as you're coming down. That building's gone. The bank now owns this parcel. And they want to just kind of pave it all over and use it as additional bank parking. They did add, which is part of the reason that I went to bring it to you guys. So awkward without my computer, sorry. Like kind of a sidewalk, like sitting area right here.
Oh,
That makes a nice
like a
buffer.
pedestrian area.
Yeah, it's got a like a, I think this is the zoom in on it. So like right now, it's just kind of asphalt. Nothing this.
Right.
This would be like a sidewalk, a brick sidewalk with, I think those are benches.
Yes.
Yeah, long
Yep.
benches, yeah. And then some trees, and that would be like kind of a cut through to get to the parking lot. I think they probably need, this is a sidewalk. Oh, it looks like the sidewalk actually just continues here. So if we had complete streets ideas for this site,
I was wondering, like, the prior impervious area of the roof and parking, how does it compare to this?
I don't really know. I could ask them that.
Because if this is more impervious, I would say make them expand, like that little pedestrian path, is that grass around there?
It's grass.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
I think it's probably less, but it should definitely be confirmed.
Okay,
Based on the aerial I looked at, it looked like it's all paved and housed previously.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're adding a little green space there.
that's good.
But you know, if you're walking like from your car, this is a lot of asphalt to walk
I agree.
across. Like it seems like
They're not gonna
They should
have
have
that
more
many
green
cars.
space.
there's like just
Yeah.
this is a whole dead space of asphalt right here.
I would think they should make like a grassy like strip to the bank or something.
Yeah, something. It just seems like if you go back to here, oops, and you look at this, like this whole area, it just seems like unused asphalt. Like,
Right.
I don't know if it would make more sense to just move all these parking lots, like parking spaces up and make that like green
Or
or like,
yeah, make it like an oval of green in the middle.
or an oval of green in the middle. Although if you do that, people might not realize that those parking spaces are for the bank anymore.
But they're also coming through for the ATM machine, right?
So the ATM machines are up here against the bank, but
Right.
yes, they are.
So I don't know, is there enough room for a little green space there? I mean, if they're backing up. Those
Oh, yeah.
cars are.
I think you could put a strip in there for sure.
Yep.
I agree with you, Laura. It's a ton of pavement. I know it's all paved now. As a planner, I hate to see a property with frontage on Union Street turn into a parking lot. I mean, we're way beyond that, but, you know, I'd hate to start seeing more businesses being knocked down to become parking lots. And we start losing the, you know, what we have on Union Street. But since we're probably beyond that, from a complete streets perspective, 4 lanes going on Union Street is a lot. I'd love to see that knocked down. I see they obviously have 3 lanes going through and then the 4th one here, but it's a lot of pavement.
Bigger.
Yeah, you can just.
Cause then, yeah, well, the green space would be against like, like Jim is saying, this is the front of Union Street, so like make this bigger and nicer and then put these parking spots right here.
Reconfigure the parking spot so that it's not wasted asphalt.
Right, and those three down here on the end, I mean, they're not meeting any minimum requirements of parking, are they? They're just adding that
I
in. Why
think
not
they're
just
just
make that
adding-
grass?
Oh, yeah.
And the car got stuck trying to drive over it because it seems there. And they said it's a very common problem that they have a lot.
Billy. Yeah, so there's no
Just for everybody to
connectivity.
say.
Yeah. it's very
Yeah,
close. It's-
Right.
So the planning board actually noticed that there's no connectivity between this parking lot and this parking lot. If you drive in here and there aren't any spaces, you have to somehow turn your car around in that little spot, go back out onto Palmer and then come around. So yeah, the planning board had already said, maybe you need to build that connectivity over here now. Maybe we should add that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, Maddie.
Any bike racks there?
Again.
That's true, like they could have put a bike rack in that like nice little area in the front. And it should be looking like art.
Yeah, right.
And Artie and
art.
Yes.
Right.
We're only approving it if that request is met. That'll make Jim feel better about
No, I feel the same way with you, Jim. It isn't decided it needs a use variance. But we're just commenting on the configuration. right now.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate to lose, businesses in our core business district, to parking lots. It should be a higher and better use with active, uses in there. There is parking available. I know they obviously want more, but, I don't know, like I say, it's probably too late, but it's a shame to see it lost to a parking lot. And I still think those 4 lanes are too much, but I don't know how you'd rework that the way that they want to set it up with their drive-through lanes. But it's a lot of pavement along the sidewalk.
May I also ask, is that gonna be some flowers or bushes or a little, that fronts on Union, something that's green or attractive that, I mean, there's not a lot of green in that stretch of Upper Union. I'm just wondering, would there be something that would be visually appealing to the eye that would be, I mean, not something that would block the view of motorists trying to get out on Union, but something that would be attractive for people at Stewart's and walking the street to see in terms of flowers or bushes or something of that nature? Or even trees?
Yeah, they're proposing rose bushes,
Red maples.
red maples, lilacs, fir
Okay.
trees, and nannyberry.
Okay.
I mean, if you go up, again, I'm not sure if they're proposing trees there, Laura, or not, but if you go up to what would that be? To the east, a handful of properties, you start getting into a lot more bigger trees. They're not between the sidewalk and the street, but we do have kind of a street tree effect behind the sidewalk. So between the sidewalks and the buildings.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a way to try and do that both in that open space they have, and then even, there's a little corner. I don't know, there's like a bush, it's not very much, but between the building and the sidewalk there, you probably only have 8 or 10 feet. They do have bushes there already, but something to kind of help continue that kind of feeling might be nice. And then there's 2 or 3 properties between those, and someday maybe we can get that in there and kind of get that street tree feeling
yeah.
going back on that, at least on that side of the road, because we've lost a lot of that too, especially on the other side of Union. A lot of the street tree elements kind of gone.
Yeah, the AR ones, these ones are the red maples.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big tree proposed pretty close to the sidewalk, so that's good.
So there are 2 of those, it looks like.
There's 2 of them, yeah. And then these are the smaller understory plants. But yeah, we'll put that note too. Hmm. Okay, another thing you can do, because this is like all of these except for Kia are really early, is you could drive by too. Cause sounds like you go there, but and see what you think. Okay, so then our next one is the corner of
The old stewards.
the old Stewards.
Okay.
The old Stewards is going away. The corner of Ferris and Consul. The old Stewards, it might actually be easier to see this 240 on an aerial. Mm. Probably you guys have been to the Stewards.
Many times.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
my Girl Scouts really like the lady that works there. She is super nice.
My grandkids like to ride their bikes there today.
Really?
Yeah.
So
That's great.
yeah, that is the way that it looks now. And this proposal also needs a use variance, but there's a proposal for a bakery. A bakery wants to go in and take over from the Stewards.
Okay.
It's called Mise Kitchen. It's like a special bake. I guess it already has a following. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of it. Yeah, apparently it's
Restaurant.
very highly rated. It's not really a restaurant. It's pastries. Yeah, it's yeah. Like
I think they go to
Maybe they'll have
Green
Mediterranean or Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern, I think.
Probably.
They go to a lot of green markets.
Yeah, they probably do. Yeah. So she's already got a following and she needs a commercial kitchen. She's expanding. So she would like to go in and it would mostly be kitchen with a couple little seats, only what could be supported at Stewards. So that's existing. And this is what she's proposing. She'd like to put a couple of tables out in the back. I think this is a bike rack.
Yes. there's my
She
bike
did
there.
want to put a bike rack.
Yep.
And then she's proposing to add tree or something back to that box. I don't think the budget is huge, but from a complete streets perspective, this is paved literally from one end to the property to the other, and it's kind of a
And I saw
and free of, you can see like,
Yeah.
there's no,
Right.
so,
I don't feel as good about asking her to do things though. Like,
I know.
as an independent woman
Right.
entrepreneur, like,
so
personally, I don't want to ask her to do anything.
the only thing I can think of, because anything that like long-term better is going to be super expensive, and it is just a tiny startup company that's trying to take over a Stewart spot, which it's better than a different kind of.
Yeah, otherwise it could be like a vape shop or something.
Yeah, that they do turn into vape shops quite a lot because Stewart's puts restrictions on what can go in after it.
Mm.
I didn't realize that until I was talking to her. They de-restrict it when they sell it.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes you can get medical office stuff, things that don't interfere with Stewart's. They've been working with her because the bakery is like close to interfering, but not 100%. So
Could you ask for a sidewalk? Or just for,
You
like,
can
in case if something ever,
yeah,
to put a sidewalk or multi-use path. then-
and I mean, the other thing is I'm not sure how expensive painting is, but if she was gonna do painting, like maybe you could just paint a hatched, just so that you're sort of delineating the
No parking.
Yeah, so
no
that cars,
driving.
yeah, you know how like you
Yes.
normally do that for crosswalk, but in this case you'd be doing it.
I think that's a cheap solution.
It might be. I don't know how expensive that paint is.
So this would typically be like the poster child for access management. I mean, this road entry is horrible on both sides. It's awful. I understand it's a small business. I get it. My wife and I have one ourselves, so I understand the cost issue. But maybe there's something that can be done if you think about the planters that are down in Schenectady. They're in front of the old bakery and sandwich shop that left down by Wolf Hollow there. They're essentially the big, metal troughs, and you put big plants and trees and things in them. If you're going to be doing some paint, you could do something like that to help break up the frontage a little bit. If we weren't going to ask for a full access management plan to be done. But generally speaking, this is, I know Consul has quite a bit of traffic, but this would be the poster child for a massive access management plan. Typically.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
I certainly understand it's being reused. It's a small business, that kind of thing, and it gets very expensive very quickly. But yeah, maybe there's something that can be done to at least try and break up some of this frontage a little, and even the safety of cars coming in and out. I mean, I don't go down here very often. I don't really know how it is. You guys know better than I do, but typically these kinds of frontages, cars are coming in and out and flying around, and there's no real defined ingress and egress, which could be a problem. But maybe it's not an issue here just because of the location. That's all I have. I wouldn't say we have to force it, but it definitely is not ideal.
I had thought about the planters too, but they're kind of far from the building. That would be a long path with a hose to have to hire someone to go out. You have to water them all the time versus like if you just have a green space that's more self-sufficient. Like, I don't know. I just don't want to saddle her with like, water all your planters every day during the heat wave.
Yeah, that was me this at lunchtime.
Uh-huh.
Watering the trees out there. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we could have the general comment that this site could use access management and
I mean, could they, what are those, what's the word for it? Like, they look kind of ugly. They're just like hunks of concrete that,
Jersey barriers.
yeah,
Yeah.
could they just, would
Oh,
they,
done.
But they, yes, they would look.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Do you-
They would look horrible. It's a residential neighborhood. I definitely would not go with the Jersey barrier, not unless it's a fully designed, engineered, barrier with a
okay,
planter in the top of it, and those get more expensive than doing other work. We just proposed a bunch of those for another project, but that was in the heart of the city. So I would stay away from Jersey barriers. I wouldn't want to see Jersey barriers anywhere in the town of Niskayuna, to be honest. But that's my opinion.
Well, actually, at the Broken Inn, he has water-filled Jersey barriers underneath those planters that he uses to delineate his seating area.
oh yeah, you're right.
Because they're keeping the cars separated from where people are sitting down and eating.
Mhm.
So yeah, you would never want the actual Jersey barriers, but yeah, he found ones that were water filled. So
Yeah, they're plastic and water filled, but they surround a sitting area with umbrellas and benches and stuff. So it's got a different kind of vibe and look to it,
yeah,
right?
no, I
Just
know
like
you
Jersey
didn't even know
barriers.
they were just there.
Right.
It's true. They are there though.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they are. That's true.
These like big concrete, it sounds like that, but it has like a hole in the top and they have plants in it. And they stuck pallets in it. So it's like tall and the plants kind of climb up the pallets.
That's cool.
And it looks cool, and I don't think they were that expensive. They might have made them themselves.
Where's that?
Unified Brewery in Malta. It's around their like patio area.
Yeah, we should look at it there. Yeah.
Well, just some design considerations. Like that idea is great. Sometimes you see planters and you can put like a picket fence in them to make that deviation between the two, which might be kind of appropriate here, given some of the farming down there. There are a bunch of cheaper options out there. I just think some design discussion would be good. See if there's something we can do just to break it up a little.
Yeah, okay, so we'll say access management issues like explore planters, striping, add bike racks, look at the Unified Brewery and
What about like some bollards? Could she put those in fairly cheaply?
yeah, I think you have to be, I mean, there actually are bollards there. Do you see that?
Okay.
But I mean, you can't just kind of put them in the middle of a pavement. Usually, like they have to be like protecting something, or cars just hit them.
Okay.
There's 4 of them there.
Oh yeah, what is that?
It's pretty cool.
They're protecting
Yeah.
some.
Space.
Yeah, that's what she's called. Thing, yeah.
Yeah.
That's their access management.
Like railroad ties.
To actually the code.
Maybe for watering that, I'm not sure. Like it's still, it's in the ground.
I don't think they needed more this year.
No.
Until now.
Yeah, now.
Until now.
Today,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would also add, if she's gonna have some tables in the back where maybe even a third one eventually, where she's going to want clients to be able to buy a pastry and have a cup of coffee. I mean, you don't necessarily want to sit in a busy, hot parking lot to enjoy your pastry and a coffee. And so, the more that you can kind of do to, well, like the planter there, to make it a little more green or a little more pleasing to the eye, then you might improve your client to enjoy a cup of coffee and a pastry in the back area, or so even the bakery owner who would be interested in maybe some improved design for the site that hopefully is not going to be a fortune, but would be something.
Yeah.
Because now it's just kind of an asphalt corner where cars zip in from both Console and I don't know, is that Ferris that's on the other side there? So it's kind of cars coming in from both ways. So anyway, that's a thought.
Would you want to, like, in,
Do an easement,
yeah, to put an easement in just to get yourself,
right, I'm putting easement.
that carry it over to the following owner if,
Yeah, it does. Yeah, easements do, they're property related.
okay.
Console County Road?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, it is. Well, that's
So
okay
something-
though, because the easement could still be to the town.
Yeah, it's just have to coordinate with the county though, right? With anything she would do.
Yeah.
close to the road.
Yeah, that's the same issue as Van Antwerp, but like, you know, we took an easement on the subdivision for Van Antwerp for a multi-use path, and that's county road. Okay, any more comments on that one?
I think it's a nice compatible use for residential area. Just be nice to see it spruced up a little.
It does need a use variance, but it, you know, use variances are tough, but it might be okay. This one is where the old, Sweet Frog was in Mohawk Commons. I, off the top of my head, can't think of anything, but we could like go down and check the sidewalks out and make sure they're in good shape and just, cause it's kind of a recent plaza, just make sure that everything, see if there needs to be a painted crosswalk or anything. I'm not sure. This is the, I'm trying to zoom in down here. This is the Walmart building that's vacant. This is that building that has the subway in it, and it used to have the Sweet Frog. And so this is the very end right here. It's getting a nail salon. So usually when we do tenant changes, we'll just double check and make sure that there's everything in the plaza is serving what should be serving. So I don't know off the top of my head, but we could go check it out. Once that'll show
I
up
don't-
here.
No, but anything more except double checking that the trees that they planted are still alive. I mean, even looking at the aerial image, a couple dead trees and missing trees and tree pits. So those would be good to do when something like this comes in, right?
Yes.
But other than that, I mean, it's pretty well built out. Repaint any more crosswalks, but it's not much else I think you really do.
This is it. It probably actually still shows a Sweet Frog here.
Yeah.
See?
they are.
Yeah. So if you spin around to the left, you see there are like two trees that are one dead and one missing over to the left there. But who knows where that stands now? Yeah, out behind that black car.
So
But-
the tree council would probably pick that up too, but I mean, it's interesting. It looks like maybe they should have trees there. Okay, so we'll make that note.
It's a development company. Are they responsible for the sidewalk? This sidewalk seems to stop that.
Oh, actually on Balltown?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't have required that to go in.
it comes that way. And that's- when you-
Doesn't go this way? Are you guys?
Oh, I guess it would.
Oh, maybe it stopped here.
Oh, okay, all right.
It does go to the end of the plaza, but that's funny. There is a piece of sidewalk missing. I bet you this has got a human path worn along it.
Yeah.
So if something ever changes here, we should definitely, what is that? Otrusco? Yeah, we should keep that one in mind.
But who owns the whole plaza?
Trusco isn't in that plaza, I don't think. I think that was, so,
Okay. Oh, I see what you mean.
yeah, I
Okay.
bet you Trusco was there like long before.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is the edge of that new development, the Mansion Square development.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, they're a good catch though. We should put that on our list of missing pieces of sidewalk. Okay, that's all the planning projects I have. Mm,
Yeah, so the next section is just discussion items, like we already talked about Burnett Plan.
mhm.
So I think we can just, the Winnie Road easement letter sent, is this a second letter that was sent?
No, I need to still follow up on that one.
Okay.
And the Council Road Sidewalk Concept Plan, I emailed Don when I was sending you guys the agenda meeting with the plan. And I asked him if he wants me to come with him or he wants to go on his own, because Councilman Delarada went to school with this guy. So he's gonna, hopefully I'll ping him, but either he'll go out on his own and get a sense, or I'll go with him. We're working on that one. The Crimson Oak Court, don't have too much to update on that one either.
No updates.
I can add that I did speak to a few folks on Crimson Oak Court, and okay. I did talk to some folks on the east side when I guess we got the information from Paul Sheldon on right of way on that road, and there were a couple people on the west side that did on the survey did well, actually not the survey, did sign the letter that the county received from residents on Van Antwerp and Crimson Oak Court that would like to see a sidewalk or side path going from Crimson Oak Court down to Knott Street East. And I mean, I guess the most helpful thing to find out right now is, do we have 25 feet from the center of the road that goes over to the yards that be space to do a multi-use path or a sidewalk? And I guess we need to talk to the 4 or 5 homeowners that are down close to Crimson Oak Court to see, would they be okay having a sidewalk or a multi-use path that would be in their front yards? And, you know, if that's okay, and then we speak to the people on Comanche Trail, that the multi-use path would be in their backyards, that is kind of buffered by a row of trees, then, you know, we could be in a situation where, you know, there's no homeowner objection. And then we could talk to the county about, you know, finding some funding to do the sidewalk or a multi-use path, either one. So I have to do a little homework there, but prepared to be optimistic. And I just hope there's, I hope we're not stuck with a 40-foot right of way, or there's no space, or the property lines are so close on the west side between the roadway that there wouldn't be enough space. And anyway,
Yeah,
I do want to get out and speak to people, and I do want to, you know, if I have to go down to the county and, you know, look at the property maps for folks on I think it's Comanche Trail there in their backyards, to ensure that there's enough space to put a sidewalk or a multi-use path kind of in the backyards. It's kind of tree line now. It's not their front yard. So
yeah, because Paul Sheldon did say we could do a 5-foot asphalt sidewalk like they did in Glencliff. And he thought that might fit there without bothering any of the trees or anything like that. So,
All right, there's a lot down there that was recently cleared.
yeah, so that is that 2-lot subdivision, 2239 Van Antwerp Road. We have an easement for a multi-use path
Okay.
on
Oh,
both of those
okay.
lots. There isn't a plan to build a sidewalk yet, but when we're meeting with that developer, we'll make sure he knows not to put anything that in there that would interfere with the sidewalk going in, and make sure he knows that the sidewalk is going in. Yeah.
Right, could we have them, the developer, put that piece in?
So the developer of that home is not the subdivider. The lot sold. And we only took an easement for that subdivision, so we couldn't require it now. It would have had to been required
Okay.
during subdivision. We can mention it. It is the father of the lady that was on our call.
Oh, okay.
But my guess is that they wouldn't put it in unless they knew that the rest of it was going
Right.
in. Yeah.
And not to make it something that would necessarily be part of this project, but there are some folks on Crimson Oak Court that I spoke with that actually kind of walk across Van Antwerp at Crimson Oak Court and then kind of walk along the tree line on the east side of Van Antwerp to get down to where there's a roadway on the east side of the traffic circle there that I guess goes up to GE, but at some point down in the future, there's an earth path along the tree line there. But if we had an asphalt path, then it would be the case that bicycle riders or even pedestrians would be able to get access to the Mohawk Hudson bike path without having to struggle getting through the busy traffic circle there that you'd say cross over at Crimson Oak Court, and then there'd be an asphalt pathway that would be far off the road that would be kind of along the tree line there that would maybe either be in the county right away or maybe property that GE owns. But that asphalt path would take you down to the utility road that goes in. I think there's a pump station or some building there, but there is a kind of a roadway access that goes across river, but it hooks right up to the Mohawk Hudson bike path. So it would be a way for folks on Knott Street East to go on the multi-use path on Van Antwerp, get up to Crimson Oak Court, go across there, and then access an asphalt path that would go on the east side, and it would take you down to this roadway that's there now. And I don't know that we necessarily want to paint a crosswalk there because there's a lot of traffic both coming and leaving the traffic circle, but it would be a good place. I mean, you'd have to pay attention before you cross the road, but it would be an access way to get to the Mohawk Hudson bike path. So, and I guess I'd also just throw it out. If we did a side path now, would we just go to Crimson Oak Court? I mean, it would just be between Crimson Oak Court and Knott Street East, possibly on the west side of Van Antwerp. I mean,
Yeah, I
If we-
think that's the idea right now.
Yeah. It was kind of a down the road thought, but there are some users now that are on Crimson Oak Court that walk along an earth path to get down to the Mohawk Hudson bike path. So
So, did you want to add anything for complete streets map update, Bill?
it's on my list. I've got to really just, I have shared an Excel spreadsheet that had some of the projects from the map that we wanted to be the projects list that would go in the comp plan, in the appendix to the comp plan, just so they're there. And Chairman Strayer did emphasize that he wanted to see those in so that projects that we're thinking about in the town are at least listed there. So they're not, they wouldn't be news, that they're in there, that we've thought about them. And somebody that's a property owner or developer would say, hey, they're just inventing stuff and trying to get me to do things now. And we really want them to be in, at least in the appendix, in the comp plan, so that we've thought about them. They're not news. And it was kind of similar to having a roadway connection on Windsor that went all the way to River Road. I mean, the town board decided just to go with a bike path, but at least it's been in the comp plan for 15 or 20 years that the planners had anticipated a road that would go all the way to River Road. And it would be the same with other things that are on our complete streets map now and other things we've discussed, to have them be in the appendix, just in an Excel spreadsheet that would, be a brief mention of, what it was. And so I've got to work on that. And people on the committee should say, Bill, stop this gallivanting around and get to work on your homework. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah, 'cause I'm actually still working on combining the chapters together, but that whole plan, the deadline for getting it to the town board is October. Yeah, so it is sneaking up on us. I think that's okay, Bill. I feel like we should schedule a meeting because we also have to finish the priority letters and the goals. Like, we could schedule like a morning, like a whole 3 hours or something, and we could try and
Yes.
chip away on these things.
Be happy to do that. And I do want to get the priority letters out. And I guess we talked about some different things. I mean, to just get a revised set printed that has the comments from the Complete Streets Committee at the last time we discussed them, which might have been February or March. And I also think that Tess Haley has mentioned, and Natty also, that if we want to talk to the school board members, we want to send a priority letter, but with summer coming up, a chance to meet with Superintendent Mummenthay and maybe the chairman of the school board, if interested, or whoever they want, to again revisit our earlier plan for walkability to each school campus, where we'd look at Birchwood, we'd look at Hillside, Craig School, really all of them, and even the high school campus, to look at the recommendations that we gave them 2 years ago, and to give them credit for some of the things they've begun working on. But just to emphasize, it's important, once students and parents get to the edge of the school campus, that there's an asphalt pathway or other ways so that you get to the building. And then, also, if we want to encourage walkability to all our schools, like Van Antwerp, and we're making some progress there, but also Iroquois, for instance, we want to talk to the town to make sure that the pathways through River Road Park are bikeable. And then, ask the school, the pathway from Rosendale Elementary to the edge of River Road Park, I mean, is that going to happen anytime soon? And so, like to have that discussion with them, and also to say to Mummenthay and School Board that we're grateful for the work they've done so far, and listening to some of our recommendations at the high school campus and Plum Street and other things. So I think it's good to have the priority letter, send that, and then schedule the meeting, and where people on Complete Streets, if they'd like to attend, and talk to school board folks and encourage them to keep working along on walkability to schools. And Birchwood
Yes.
Lane is another example. So,
That sounds good, Bill. We will do that.
okay.
The only thing I have an update on is, I guess there was a pretty tragic e-bike accident in Central Park. And so the county in Schenectady, and so the county, it may have brought this more to the forefront, right, on the county level, which we had kind of decided might be the more appropriate level to do something anyway. But I could still put together what Brendan had and send it on to the supervisor, and then see if the county could take some steps, because I guess
I've noticed more.
Yeah.
Just in my neighborhood alone,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of young people are
On
riding
Route
them
7,
e-bikes all
yeah.
over the place. So I guess it's something we really need to address.
yeah.
They're not wearing helmets or anything,
No.
I know, but there's the whole enforcement issue, I mean. So we would,
When we were away by a school, high school, there
uh-huh.
had to be at least 100 of those things parked out in front of the school. It's
Right.
crazy how many bikes is there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert on them, but I was picking my daughter up at Iroquois. And it looked like like a kid was on a motorcycle, but I think it was an
Yes.
e-bike.
Right.
But I mean, the tires were like that thick, and she wasn't pedaling. But I think there were pedals. They are. They are.
Different class of e-bikes.
Yeah. There's one, two, three.
Rattles are illegal in New York.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure how many people are listening to that though.
So if we're going to do something, we have to look at it from enforcement as well.
Mhm.
You know, so-
Well, I told, because the supervisor reached out and said, and I said, well, I mean, I can send on the information that Brendan put together, but it does seem like it's a bigger thing than just the town of
It is.
Niskayuna.
Yeah.
So,
You can like
Um,
volunteer, like people 16 and under, it's a certain type of e-bike.
I think we have that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're not supposed to be under 16.
Right. I did, at one point, I did reach out to, there's a bike group that's Schenectady. Asked them their position on it.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
I wonder if it's like,
Art, right?
Yeah, it was arts group,
Oh,
right,
motorcycle.
right,
Yeah.
and I didn't hear a thing, nothing. Crickets, so,
Is it art, Judith?
no, Clayman.
yeah,
Oh, right?
you know, it's been
Yeah.
a while, so.
Yeah.
It probably was our claim.
Does the mountain bike club ever have to run into that?
We run into people on e-bikes. They're usually extremely rude. Very, they have no idea how to pass. And
On the mountain trails?
that's most of the bike path.
Oh, on the bike path. Usually they're on the bike path.
They kind of just like, they're all over the place.
Hmm.
Usually going very fast and weaving between people.
Ah.
I know, do you know what happened in that, in Central Park? You said in Schenectady, you said it was a serious
Yeah,
accident.
it's pretty tragic.
No, they had a chain across.
She's going too fast on an e-bike.
and
I
She
see.
she ran into the chain.
Oh, yeah, I see, okay.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's just a speed thing, like even with
Oh, yeah,
cars,
yeah.
like, on bikes, it's a lower speed that kills, but, it's the same with cars. If you go too fast, it's just not safe.
Something you have to teach your kids, at the school level, like, so those are the kids that are gonna start. somehow.
And now we're not supposed to be on them.
I
No,
know,
they're
but
not
they do.
supposed to, and they're not supposed to be going that fast.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's all I have, because the rest I feel like it's just stuff that,
Well, I would add on e-bikes before we leave that, it's really helpful, I think, for, each of us to kind of take a look at what Brendan had put together. And I would also note, and I don't know that we want to wait, but I'm looking at the June 2nd Schenectady Daily Gazette that, Clifton Park's getting ready is going to be working on a study. And I don't know that we want to, it's e-bike study underway. This is Clifton Park. And it also looks to me like that, state law, there are some regulations in state law that communities have looked at that, I mean, I can almost see a town board or people saying, look, what are the current regulations? If, we were asking the police department to enforce some things, I mean, what is legally recommended or allowed in terms of the PD to look at? And it's like, speed things. And I know that he does mention that, Glenville is working with the county on Mohawk Hudson bike trail regulations. And so there's kind of some municipalities, I think, have made some tighter regulations than maybe what's allowed by the state. And that might be, some of the other studies come in like, Clifton Park. But I guess I'm just sort of wondering, is there more that could be done now, or could we learn some things that if the police chief said, hey, I'm concerned about commercial areas or whatever, what what's enforceable now. And,
Reach out to the Clifton Park planner and see if he
Yes.
can give us an update. I like him.
And I mean, if the county wants to do some kind of regulations on the Mohawk Hudson bike path, then I guess I feel like Rotterdam, Glenville, Niskayuna, if Glenville's already talked to the county about that, we should have someone from our committee that, would be willing to go meet with the county if they have meetings on that to kind of talk about that. That would be, what's the county looking at in terms of regulations on the Mohawk Hudson bike trail? And then, some of those might, be things the town would want to consider. And, I mean, I don't know if Niskayuna would want to say, we'd like some tighter things or more extensive things than what the state law is. And I presume you have to observe the state law, but you can always go a step or two further yourself in your own town for whatever. But it's not simple because a lot of towns are doing things and we're working with the county, and we now had an injury, and it's kind of
So not just
two
one.
things. Well,
We
it's more complicated than it looks, I guess, but I think the town boards is anxious that please look at it and, give us some recommendations. So,
Yeah, because originally there was kind of a police chase with a person on an e-scooter that ended badly. So that was the original reason that they talked to us. But, then they had the tragedy in the city of Schenectady. So there's been a number of pretty sad things that have happened on the e-bike things. Yeah.
So we should just review what's out there right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and then just.
And then we'll see what
maybe
Clifton
comment.
Park's doing and we can
Okay.
give it to the supervisor. But I
Right.
actually think even as far as a representative to the county, the supervisor and the chief of police, I think have been talking to the county about it quite a bit. So I think we can just continue to support them. And then if they need us, we can jump on. But the police chief has really been involved in it because he sees the sad part of it.
Making are not permitted inside the Albuquerque International Sunform.
School security officers check, like maybe elementary schools,
I mean, it's a
To see if
question for
they're
the
the
police chief. Yeah, you can ask that.
because those kids definitely are allowed to check. High schoolers, some of them can, some of them can't, so it's a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
And enforcement's tough. A lot of people are talking about it, but you can't always tell which is an e-bike versus another bike. And they don't have a license, right? So you can't throw them a ticket and then pull their license for them. The only way to really get an e-bike off the road is to take the bike. And that's, its whole thing. So there's a lot of discussion going on about this all over the place. It's very tough, but anybody that's riding down the road on a flat or an uphill that's going very fast and not pedaling is riding on an illegal e-bike. It's essentially an electric motorcycle. And I've got one in my neighborhood. Kid's probably doing 50, 60 miles an hour without a helmet the other day crossing Lexington. It was absolutely insane. And I've seen him popping wheelies through the neighborhood. It's nuts. It's crazy. But it's very hard to enforce unless you can catch them in the act. And then you just have to take the bike away. But even then, you don't necessarily know who anyone is because they may not have ID on them. And like I say, it's a tough one. It's a tough situation, but it's something that definitely has to be looked at. And a lot of people are, so we don't have to invent the wheel.
Right.
I guess invent the wheel. Look at that. Sorry,
Be doing this.
bad joke.
Well, it's similar to dirt bikes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Although, we talked about before, the upside to them is that they get people out who
yes.
Senior.
might otherwise be, or Laura's, although I actually don't have any bike, but it would help me get to work because I can't bike up the hill to my work. I just can't. I'm terrible at it. Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
what the pedal assist bike does. The pedal assist bikes will help you do that. And those are the ones that are legal.
Still, like, I would never want to get, I actually do want to get one, but I don't want to get a throttle one. I just want to. Someday.
The transit improvement request, bus stops.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get any?
No, I haven't gotten anything back from them. I'll just ping them again. Because like I said before, I had talked to them when we were doing our Route 7 site walk. They were like gonna pull some data and then schedule a meeting with me, but I'll have to.
CDTA.
CDTA was working with me on that, yeah. And they've been good to work with. They just have to figure out if that'll work or not.
I mean, it makes sense. And like you said, it wouldn't be on the weekends, it'd just be during the week.
Just during the week to see if we could pick up some ridership.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of ridership in Niskuna, but it'd be nice if there were good routes to GE and Capel that it could pick up some. We're still gonna pick up the people that are already on that bus route, but yeah.
And I think when Route 7 is safer for them to cross streets. And
Yeah.
More people might use it.
Yeah.
It's a great resource.
Yeah. I mean, transit is the one spot in Niskuna that we are like so low on. People don't want to use it, but it is such a good thing to do for the environment and everything.
That's true. Right. So the last one is the plan, but you said.
Still working on that.
Still working
As soon
on
as I have the draft together, I'll bring it to you guys.
Yeah. That's good. But there's nothing else that we need to do.
No, I think when I put them together and I send them to you, you guys could make any changes or edits that you wanted from there.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's not gonna look the same, Bill.
It's gonna be shorter.
That's okay.
I know.
I mean, Carla's contributed material, you've contributed material. I've chipped in some stuff and Laura has some ideas and the committee has ideas. So it's a community product. And so it will be what it will be. And I think it's going to capture, I think, a fairly profound new emphasis on bike and pedestrian. And that was something that we kind of hoped for. So I think that'll be good. I do have one more item that I'd like to mention before we close, if I can just toss it in. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I asked Laura about speaking to Van Antwerp Apartments about a pedestrian crossway. And when you're on Knott Street East, I think we did get an easement with the apartments there, but the goal would be a walkway really kind of from Hillside or Hilltop Avenue or even the new sidewalk. I mean, there's an asphalt one now that goes from the CVS parking on Balltown Road up next to the Van Antwerp Apartments. And, we've had residents ask us about a push button crosswalk on Hilltop Avenue that would get over to the walkway next to Van Antwerp Apartments, which is a good idea. We'll get a push button crosswalk there, and I think we've asked for it. And I think the school folks are supportive. And if we want people to walk to Van Antwerp Apartments, that would be. But I'm just wondering, is it possible to talk to the Van Antwerp Apartments people about any possibility of a walkway that would get you from Van Antwerp over to Knott Street East, maybe close to the entrance to the high school. So, you could get access to the high school. And, there is the kind of back row of parking in Van Antwerp Apartments, which some, I guess people probably inappropriately walk along and then they go through the gate across from Price Chopper and cross Knott Street East there. And I don't know whether they would be amenable or if they said we'd give you a little bit of space if, the town had a 6-foot fence that would mark off a pedestrian walkway and the town would ensure any accidents or anything that happened on the walkway, whether they'd be willing to work with us on something. And I don't know, I guess I still see kind of a need. And I did ask the people in Feldhausen's, but a walkway there would just kind of go in the middle of their property and it doesn't really work. I mean, there's a little bit of a connection. I mean, we have Greens Farm Road that comes down, but I don't know, I guess I'm just wondering if people think it'd be worth trying to do a little inquiry or some more looking at a walkway that would go kind of from the Van Antwerp Apartments or across that way so kids could walk to the high school and people could go back and forth that way.
It's easy to walk in there, but you're not in jeopardy to walk through there. Like you can go.
Well, it is their private parking lot, because I could see Van Antwerp Apartments say, no, this is private property. This is a parking lot roadway. It's not a public road. So, you know, we don't want to assume the liability of pedestrians walking in our back parking lot because it's not a public street. And, you know, I'd rather approach them to see if they would be willing to work something out where, you know, we would have a marked a walkway. And I don't know, their back parking lot, they almost need that space for cars to be able to back up and go in and out. But I know there are people that walk it now that probably illegally, but you know, if we want to make something a public walkway, then you'd have to have an arrangement that would be in place. So, I don't know. I only toss it out as a thought.
Oh, no. You looked at me over here. Yeah. We actually have an easement down this side of the building.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but it's very, very tight. I
Okay.
mean, I've looked at that property a couple of times to see if we could squish something in. It's very, very tight.
Because it looks like there's more room here, maybe. Especially if the post office let you build it on some of their land there. Doesn't seem, you know, if this was.
I'm a little torn on that one because I agree with Tess. It's not actually a barrier to people walking right now,
Yeah, if you wanna do it, you can go do it.
but it is a very tight site, and I would be a little worried about stirring up something. But I mean, of course, it would be better if there could be a public path there. It is a very tight site, though. I've looked at it a couple of different times. You just can't. It's all private property.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather spend our efforts on doing something that I currently don't feel safe doing. Whereas to me, that's already an existing corridor. I know, even though technically it's not.
I mean, it's an existing walk corridor because I think the Van Antwerp Apartments tolerate it, but all you need is one accident or somebody slipping or whatever,
Yeah.
and then they might say, hey, we don't want the public using our parking lot as a public walkway, and then we'd be forced to either abandon it or try to work something out. And I guess I'd prefer to be on the positive side before something happens, at least to have a conversation with them and see what they
Yeah.
say.
Well, we have a lot of items on our agenda to finish, though. We
Yep.
could finish and then do that one.
Well, but we're in the business of, we've got 20 things going all over town, and we almost have to, you know, take opportunities as they present themselves. And I'd say the crosswalk on River with the, you know, the Kelts Farm property. I mean, it came up because Mr. Bezoin decided to develop that property, but it was an opportunity for us to get a crosswalk. And so I just think we need to be poised where there's a situation that comes along. And, you know, the school district has changed the policy. They're going to put all the 5th and 6th at VA and move all 7 and 8 to Iroquois. And we are working on getting a push button crosswalk at Hilltop going across Van Antwerp. And if we do a piece of Van Antwerp from the traffic circle down to Knott Street East, I mean, we do have some people already on Van Antwerp that would like to see a passageway go all the way from Knott Street East down to Balltown Road. So, you know, it is current at some level. And so I want to kind of keep thinking about it. So anyway, thank you.
We could find a contact or something for the place. Yeah.
Plus,
So,
we have the apartments that will be built around CVS, and we've talked about maybe a a walkway that would go along the Ace Hardware and the school building, but we don't know that the TV station may dig in and say, we're top secret and we don't want pedestrians walking on our back walkway there. So the answer is no on that, but anyway.
They did say no. So,
Thank you for your time. I didn't mean to try to end the meeting.
Llama al 505
Okay, well, guys, thank you for joining us. We'll see you in July, Bill.
Is
Jim.
Bye-bye.
right? Or is this like outside in a ski on ice wall?
So one of them is, they're both outside.
Oh, okay. All right. It just seems it would make sense and